Guam barbecue chicken. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brine my whole chicken. When I have time to do that before marinating it, I do. You definitely want to brine this when you're making a stuffao or chicken kadu. So I have a 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. And this helps to draw out the blood and take away some of that poultry raw taste. And then salt. So about a 1/4 cup of salt as well. There's different measurements or ways to brine. And basically you're soaking your chicken in a liquid with salt, sugar, and some seasonings. This is somewhat frozen. Go ahead and take out all the giblets and neck and stuff if you don't like to cook it. If you do, leave it in there. I just take it out. And then enough cold water to cover. The chicken is breast side down. When you're marinating this in soy sauce and vinegar, you know, that will help draw out some of the blood as well and give it lots of flavor. But if you're going to make kadu or stuffao with your chicken, or even when I bake my whole chicken, I always brine it. It tastes much better. So this will sit in my fridge overnight. Get some cold water going here. And then I'll drain it in the morning and marinate it for 24 hours. I find that when I marinate chicken, it has to be 24 hours to get some really good flavor. And cold water. Alright, so fill this to cover the chicken, put it in your fridge, and then I'm going to marinate it tomorrow. Here's my container full of whole chickens, and you can see how the blood has been pulled out of the birds. I don't like meat or chicken juices splattering all over my kitchen, so I clean the sink, put the cutting board inside the sink, and then cut my chicken. I've drained the water out, and I'm going to cut these into pieces. I don't remember where I learned how to do this, if somebody taught me or what. But anyways, you find the point of least resistance, and I always start with the drumstick. And your point of least resistance would be at the joints where there's cartilage, not bone. Then I go to the wings. There's probably a more professional way to do this, but that's how I've been doing it. And then get to the thigh. Where are you? Then I just kind of cut through that. Just in the middle there. Cut through some of the rib bones to get to the bottom, and then I pull it apart, and there's the joints down here. You can save the back meat. A lot of people cook with it. Okay. Well, I'm just going to marinate this whole, okay, and so I'm going to leave the breasts intact. But if I was going to barbecue it, I'd slit it down the middle here and then turn it around, slit here, and then cut it in half. But by keeping the chicken whole, it'll marinate like this, and when I bake it, it'll keep the chicken breast meat tender instead of dry, okay? But if we were to barbecue it, I would cut it up just because it takes too long for this to cook on a barbecue pit. I put 1 chicken in each Ziploc bag. This is the freezer gallon bag, a little more heavy duty than your gallon storage bags. Sliced half of an onion into each bag. Now this is the easiest way I found for me to marinate my chicken. And then 2 teaspoons of garlic powder in each bag, ½ teaspoon of salt, and 3/4 cups of brown sugar. This is such a good marinade that I had to share it with you. The recipe is in my cookbook, A Taste of Guam. This is how I do my marinade all the time, whether it's ribs or chicken. The chicken in particular, when you put this in the oven, oh my gosh, the smell, the look, the taste is super delicious. I'm omitting the black pepper just because my kids don't care for it. And a ½ cup of water. In my pitcher, I have 2 cups of soy sauce and 2 cups of vinegar. I'm just going to give that a stir. Forgot to stir it. And then just pour half of this liquid mixture in. This is a very strong marinade, but chicken in particular takes a while for the seasoning and juices to come through. I'm going to seal this before I spill it out here. Yes, I do use a lot of marinade, I know. That's just how it is. Alright. I have to marinate this for a whole 24 hours for the chicken. And I do that with my ribs too. I like my barbecue meat strongly flavored. Some people don't do it as long, maybe half a day or 8 hours, but I like mine strong. So I've got my chicken and marinade mixture all sealed up. Oops, look how easy this is to mix around. And right now it's in 1 Ziploc bag, but I'll put it in another one to make sure it doesn't spill all over my refrigerator. Wait until you see the color on this chicken when it comes out of the oven. Okay. Let the air out. So I'm using a fresh Ziploc bag, but then I'll put it into a Ziploc bag that I used before to maybe store empanada or bootsy, whatever. It's clean. I've kept it in the freezer. So once I'm done here, then I'll just lay this in my refrigerator as such. Okay, and turn it 1 or 2 more times. Throughout the 24-hour period. When I'm done with that, I'll take this out of the fridge. About 2 hours before I have to cook it. 2 to 3 hours. That way the meat comes closer to room temperature and doesn't take so long to cook. All right, we're done with this. My chicken is ready to go in the oven. I have a large cookie sheet on the bottom, 3 to 4 sheets of heavy-duty aluminum foil, and you notice I also have a baking rack, which I sprayed with non-stick pan spray, so it'll be easier to clean when I'm done. You see some of the marinade here. It'll thicken up as it bakes, but you want to make sure you get your foil folded up all around that baking rack. That way the marinade doesn't leak all over your oven. I put the onions that were in the marinade on top of the chicken breast. This goes into the oven at 350 for an hour and 15, hour and a half. I also set the chicken out on the counter about 2 or 3 hours already, so it comes closer to room temperature.